Well, hello, IDS 105 students, and welcome to week 4, module 4 here in your IDS 105 class. Today's webinar session is going to talk about your assignments that are due for week 4. We will be centering in on what is due, so that discussion assignment, and then of course we're going to go over your project draft part 3. As always, your experience here at Southern New Hampshire University is important to us. It's our policy and practice to create an inclusive and accessible learning environment. If there are aspects of instruction or course design that present any barriers to accessibility, please notify the Online Accessibility Center, the OAC, as soon as possible at 866-305-9430. You can also email them at oac@snhu.edu or visit the Online Accessibility Center website. Couple of webinar reminders. This is an academic space, so always be mindful of your conduct. These learning community webinars and videos are not graded. They are not required, but hopefully they're helping you learn about how to do your assignments from week to week and helping you understand the concepts that we are currently working on in your course. Before I dive into all things week 4, module 4, I want to take a moment and pause and celebrate. Y'all, you are officially entering the halfway point of the term. So this is my woohoo high five. We are absolutely so proud of you here at SNHU. You are entering the halfway point of the term, and I'm telling you right now, these next 4 weeks are going to go really quickly. This is also my reminder that because we're at the halfway point of the term, if you have fallen behind or found yourself stuck, this is the best time to reach out to your instructor and make a plan to either stay on track or get back on track, okay? Couple of tips for your success, of course, as always, is just a reminder, y'all, that the university communicates with you via your SNHU email. So always make sure you're consistently checking your SNHU email. And also remember to make sure that you are reading those course announcements in your courses consistently throughout the week. Your faculty and instructors spend a lot of time creating announcements that just help you break down concepts, maybe share tips or tricks on assignments, go over their assignment expectations and requirements. So it's just really important to make sure that you're reviewing those course announcements. Also, if you have questions on anything about your assignments or your grades, or you need to get caught up, or maybe you're just stuck on something or have something coming up, the absolute best person for you to reach out to is always your instructor at any of your classes, okay? They can see what you have turned in. They are the ones that are grading your assignments, so they are the best person to reach out to. So make sure if you have questions or you need anything or have any concerns to always get with your instructors as soon as possible, because we want you to be successful, all right? So week 4, module 4, again, that high fives, y'all. I'm so excited for you to be here at the halfway point. That's a big deal. So this week's assignments is you have another project draft. You have project draft part 3 here this week, and you have a discussion assignment for your IDS 105 course for week 4. As a reminder, those due dates, as always, with discussion assignments, that initial discussion post is due by Thursday or before as convenient for your schedule. And then you have to respond to at least 2 of your classmates, y'all, by Sunday or before. Remember with those peer responses, they need to be more than just a sentence or 2. You need to substantially respond to your classmates or you're going to lose points. Also, with those peer responses, those peer response points add up. So if you don't get them in or you only do 1, it costs you a significant amount of points for your discussion assignment. So don't let that be you. Again, initial discussion post due by Thursday, responding to at least 2 of your classmates substantially by Sunday or before. And then that project draft is due by Sunday or before as convenient for your schedule. Couple of just assignment reminders. Remember, for your project draft, you want to be using that same template you've been working from all term. Or if you created your own document, you want to just make sure that you have all the pieces and parts and the correct information, okay? Of course, it has to be in Microsoft Word or something compatible so your instructors can open it up, review it, and grade it. As a reminder, video note submissions are not permitted for project drafts. You do get Office 365 for free as an SNHU student, just in case you need it. And make sure you're paying attention to which questions you are answering for the project draft, okay? We're on part 3 for this. As shared tips, if you have kind of struggled on your project drafts that you've turned in so far, maybe your instructor has said that you need to tie in some relevant examples or details, or you just need to add more details or information to your answers as you're working through those project drafts, but you're stuck or you don't understand or you're not sure how. get your rough draft written up and get that to the academic support team. Utilize the written feedback service. There's a little questionnaire when you upload your writing assignments that'll ask you what you want the tutor to focus on. Be really specific and help them help you be successful on this assignment, okay? You get that targeted feedback within 12 hours, and y'all, I'm telling you, it is absolutely worth giving them a try, okay? As we navigate through this week, week 4, everything is going to be centered on the topic of communication. So just a quick reminder, there's so many different types of communication, right? There's verbal communication, which is you're speaking to somebody, right? Written communication, that is when we're writing things. So this could be notes, this could be emails, this could be letters. Most popular tends to be the text messages. And I'm a fan of those good old fashioned greeting cards. Does anybody still send those anymore? But that written word, right? And then we have the nonverbal communication. The nonverbal communication is really centered in on kind of body language. So things to consider when you're thinking about nonverbal communication in a situation or in a scenario is things like gestures, posture, and silence. Silence can be a powerful communicator. Think about that for a minute, right? And then, of course, we have any visuals that we could use or visual cues that round out that visual communication type, okay? So when you are answering your questions this week, think about these different types of communication. Think about how you best communicate. Think about how those in your life communicate. And as you consider your scenario, what are the different kind of communication styles that are in there too, all right? The other thing we want to talk about this week for week 4, module 4 is intent versus impact. So this matters because have any of you been in a situation where you were having a conversation with somebody, whether you were writing an email or a text message or talking to them in person, let's say, and the intent of what you wanted to say or what you said didn't necessarily hit its mark. Maybe something was misunderstood or taken out of context, and you realize quickly the impact of what we say and how we are and what we do, what it makes, right? So this week, kind of consider too intent versus impact and how that matters when we are thinking about communication, okay? And you're going to put all this together in your assignments this week, your discussion assignment this week. You are going to be answering the following questions for your initial post. 1, you want to think about a recent moment in your own life. So this could be anything. This could be work, school, your daily routine, where clear communication made a difference. What you want to do in this post is to actually like share with your classmates in your class like what happened. So describe what happened, describe the situation, and explain why communication was important in that moment, okay? And then you also want to share what methods were you using for communication in this situation? Were you texting? Were you emailing? Were you in person? Were you calling, like on the phone? Was it a mix of a few? Be specific and share the whole pieces and parts of basically your scenario, okay? And then part 3 is looking back, what specific communication techniques or adjustments might have improved the situation? And then think about AI. So AI, artificial intelligence, is like everywhere right now, right? So think about how AI tools might help, or maybe they could even hinder effective communication in like a similar situation, and share your thoughts on that. Okay, again, and just Thursday, respond by Sunday or before it's convenient for your schedule. The other assignment for week 4 is that project draft assignment. Remember, you picked a scenario or created your own scenario back in module 2, week 2. You are using that same one. So we're sticking with the same one, y'all. We're not changing it up. So you had school, personal, or workplace, or you created your own. If you need a refresher on the scenarios, or if you need a refresher or you need a new template for some reason, all of that is available back in module 2. Okay, so we're sticking with the same scenario, and you are answering part 3. When you pull up the template, this is just the section that's part 3. When you pull up the template, you're going to scroll down to part 3. You'll see it says complete this section in module 4. So you are answering the following questions. Remember, for answering these questions, you want to keep in mind the scenario that you chose or created. You also want to keep in mind the concepts that we're covering in our class or have covered. And you also want to think about any relevant experiences or things that you might have encountered in your own everyday life. And sometimes we might have to make up the details to get everything to connect and explain our thoughts fully, right? So this week's questions are: 1, mindfulness of different cultures. So you want to explain how mindfulness, so being mindful of different cultures, could improve communication with the individuals in the chosen scenario. And then you want to be specific, use specific examples, right? So something to think about is how can being aware of cultural norms or values shape the way you communicate in your scenario? Answer the question. Number 2 is diverse backgrounds. Describe how being familiar with diverse backgrounds can positively influence communication in your scenario. Things to consider. How can understanding somebody's background or life experiences help you connect more effectively in this situation? Okay. And then part 3 is an awareness of diversity. Explain why being aware of diversity is beneficial collaboration in a chosen scenario, and be specific. So things to consider is how can recognizing and respecting differences lead to stronger teamwork or maybe more effective problem solving when you're considering your scenario. As always, detailed examples, write and complete sentences, and this is due by Sunday of week 4, module 4, or before is convenient for your schedule. Okay. Just a reminder, and wrapping things up before I share the classroom space with you real quick, is communication is key, y'all. Especially you are in that halfway point of the term. Again, if you have fallen behind or you are struggling or you just need some extra assistance, always reach out to your faculty. Everybody has an email address. A lot of faculty, you can check that My Instructor announcement, they share their phone number. But also, please know we have a ton of resources here at SNHU. You know, I show you guys that all the time, but you have your advisor is a gem and a wealth of information to connect you to different departments, shall you need them. If you're having trouble with any of your writing assignments, the academic support team is fabulous. They have the written feedback service, or you can also, of course, always sit in on any of their amazing workshops that they have. So remember, connect and communicate for your success. Communication is key. It's just the big theme for this week, right? So let's take a quick look in your classroom for IDS 105 for week 4, module 4. As a reminder, y'all, click the blue, gets you where you want to go. You want to click on that introduction and, of course, review the entire overview of the module. You all don't forget to scroll down, arrow over. You have so much content within your actual classroom space. So make sure that you are reviewing the reading that is here within your actual module. Okay, there's a lot of great tips and strategies and information that has gone over here about communication. So make sure that you are definitely reviewing that, in addition to the required resources. That's those textbook chapters you want to read, any extra videos for your success that just really help drive home the concepts that we're talking about this week. Okay. Then a reminder, we have that week 4 discussion, which we've already talked about. And then you all, of course, have that last part of your project draft. The project draft part 3, not the last part, just project draft part 3. When you click on that, it's going to give you an overview of the questions you're answering. As a reminder, if you need the template again, or you need to go to the scenarios, they're back under module 2. That template again looks like this. Remember, yours won't have the highlights. This is just mine that I highlight to show you the different sections. Back in module 2, you answered part 1. Back in module 3, you did part 2. So now we're module 4 and you're answering the part 3. Okay. And then next week in week 5, you'll have your last section, which is part 4. So remember to pay attention to which questions you are answering. The other thing I wanted to point out too is, of course, up at the top, if you have any citations that you need to do and you're not sure how to do them, the Shapiro Library has a wonderful citing your sources guide. Also, here is that direct link, of course, to academic support. Academic support, when you click on it, it pulls up their menu of services. Written feedback is definitely an amazing resource for you, especially if you just want another set of thoughts on your writing assignments here at SNHU. This can be for discussions, project drafts, journals. They can do all the things, but it's just really important. You don't just upload a writing assignment and like walk away. You need to upload that writing assignment and be specific with what you want the tutor to focus on. Select those areas you want them to focus on. Again, be specific, and you get feedback here in just a little bit. Okay, so at least within 12 hours. Also, I wanted to point out there's amazing workshops that the academic support team has on a range of topics. I mean, different class topics, different writing styles, citation, there's time management, there's all kinds of stuff in the workshops. You can always click on attend a workshop to actually see the entire workshop schedule. So you'll notice there's all kinds of stuff, from how to understand rubrics, how to avoid plagiarism. There's different course specific things. But the really cool thing is if you book a workshop, but you can't maybe make that time, if you book it and put in your information, you get emailed a copy of the recording of that workshop. So if you're like, oh, I want to check these out, but I can't make the times, you can still register for them. Okay. So y'all, that's everything for week 4, module 4. I just want to remind you, thank you so much for being an active participant in your educational journey. We are so excited for you. You're going to be heading into the last half of your term. Remember, if you're stuck, reach out, communicate for your success. And remember, as always, y'all got this. Have an amazing week 4.